In today's video, we're going to be building my first Flux proof of useful work mining rig. Today's video is sponsored by the team over at ASICmarketplace.com. With crypto mining hardware prices dropping, it's critical to find an online store you can trust with your ASIC purchases. The team at ASICmarketplace.com has you covered with some of the most competitive pricing on the market. No matter what brand you're looking for, ASIC Marketplace has it. To name just a few: Bitmain, Goldshell, WhatsMiner, IB-Link, iPolo, JazzMiner, and many more. There are no surprises with ASIC Marketplace. The price listed on their website includes shipping. Imagine that. Finally, ASIC Marketplace takes the buying experience to the next level by accepting cryptocurrency as payment directly on their store. Go check out ASIC Marketplace today via the link in this video's description down below, as well as save $110 at checkout with discount code THEHOBBYISTMINER. What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Well, today is the day the Flux team has released Proof of Useful Work Alpha, and I'm excited. Today we're going to be building our first rig dedicated to Proof of Useful Work. We're going to install Windows, and then I'm going to show you guys exactly how to install FluxCore so you can get started with Proof of Useful Work. So what do we have here? This here is a Dell Precision Tower. It's a 5810. So this is a Dell Workstation computer, and check this out. It looks like a typical desktop PC, right? Well, kind of. So these are workhorses. These have been used for a variety of different things, for rendering, for CAD, for all different types of high output and high resource jobs that may come their way from Dell. Most of you probably didn't own one of these, but you can find them on eBay and on Facebook Marketplace for great deals. So it comes with a Xeon 10-core processor. It comes with these. You guys want to mine with these? Look at these. These two graphics cards, which probably at one point were pretty decent when it came to workstation jobs and such, but not necessarily what we're going to be using it for. Now, what's also really attractive about this, and I'll show you in a minute when I start to strip this out, is the fact that it can handle up to 128 gigabytes of memory, which is perfect for what we're going to be using it for Flux Proof of Useful Work. We are going to be installing one graphics card in here today, a 3060 12 gigabyte, because the VRAM is super important for Flux Proof of Useful Work. We're going to have two hard drives in here as well, a solid state as well as a larger 4 terabyte drive. And we're going to be upgrading that 10 core to a 14 core. So let me show you the additional hardware. All right, so I picked up a RTX 3060 XC. This is a 12 gigabyte card. And VRAM is very important per some of the specifications for Flux Proof of Useful Work. In addition to that, memory. They recommend for peak performance to have, I believe it's something like 4 times the memory of your GPU. So I thought, well, we'll go ahead on eBay, and we did. On eBay, we found enough memory to max it out, especially if I ever want to add a second GPU to that rig. So 128 gigabytes of memory. So here is our Xeon processor. It is an E5 2697V3. So we're going to be going from a 10 core to a 14 core. And then we have two hard drives. The solid state drive that we're going to install on the machine, as well as have Windows on. And then we're going to put this secondary drive in, which is a 4 terabyte drive, because the Flux Proof Useful Work jobs can get pretty dang big, and they recommend a larger secondary drive. So I thought a Western Digital Red would be perfect. Finally, huge shout out to the veteran miner. He went ahead and sent me these custom cables built for this. We have a new 10 pin to go from the distribution board to the motherboard, as well as we're going to utilize off of this distribution board, I'll show you in a second, going from an 8 pin off the distribution board to 2 8 pins if we decide, and when we decide, to add a second 3060, which is what I'm thinking about down the road. I really want to test the waters and see how Flux Proof of Useful Work goes. So much stuff we gutted out of there. So we got some memory that we removed. because we're going to be replacing that memory. We did go ahead and pull off the cooler. We are going to reuse that. We have a new CPU processor for there. I did remove both of these. Now it does have two X16 slots, one here and one here, so that'll be perfect. X16 is highly recommended for flux-proof useful work. Not required, but recommended. It's crazy. You can use like insane enterprise hardware and then all the way down to a normal GPU mining rig or your desktop PC, which is great. I did go ahead and remove the shroud here. This is the distribution board I was telling you about before. There's a 10-pin cable that goes to the motherboard. Pretty typical, you know, you have that normally with like an ATX build or whatever. Remove that. We're going to use, of course, the one over here from Veteran Miner. And then this 8-pin one is going to split off, and it's only going to be used for one right now, but I'm opening this up so that I can add another one as well as needed. Just kind of want to test the waters, you know, see how things go. There was a plastic piece here covering the memory and up there. Remove those, as well as remove like our CD, DVD drive over there. So take a look. All the junk we gutted from this thing. Look at these things. $1,000 I'll sell them to you for. Who wants them? Look at that. That's crazy. Yeah, there's the memory. Here's those cables we're replacing. The drive, a bunch of plastic. Look at that. Look how much thermal paste there is on this thing. Oh my gosh. So we're going to clean that off. We'll clean that off, put it to the side. But I'm going to clean this off. We're going to reuse that. These are our drive caddies. It does come with, what comes in here? A 256 gig solid state. I might actually reuse that one because the one I have is only 64 gigabytes there. And then we'll use the other caddy for the larger hard drive. All right, let's get to work. Check it out. Came together really, really good. Oh my gosh. 128 gigabytes of memory there. Looks awesome. Got our cooler back on. That worked out well. I'm trying to think what else. We got our solid state drive. I went with the one that actually came with it, 250 gigabytes, which is good. I might, based off of like what kind of score it gives my hard drives, I might have to invest in like a faster SSD. I'll have to decide what avenue I go. Then we have our 4 terabyte drive down below here. We have our EVGA GeForce RTX 3060 XC in there. And honestly, dude, huge shout out to the Veteran Miner. Go check them out, guys. These cables worked out awesome. Now, these were made for this exact setup, the Dell Precision 5810. These were specifically made for it. So our 10-pin back there connects in and goes right over there. Love the length, works out well. And then this guy here, the splitter, 8-pin, right off of here, comes through, goes right into here. And then I decided to actually take the second one, wasn't really sure where to put it, And there's a little clip right up here that was actually built in with the case there. I think there was a SATA cable connected there. I just went ahead and tied it up there out of the way, which works out perfect. So what's next? So I'm going to get Windows installed. We're going to do Windows 10 on this machine. And once it's up and running, we'll take a look. And then we're going to go ahead and get FluxCore and Proof of Useful Work installed. Success. So we got everything up and running. I do have some BIOS settings if you guys decide to go with one of these Dell Precision workstations. I'm going to put all the BIOS settings that I set for this. Some items that you might need to think about is virtualization. Make sure that's enabled. Power always on, which is pretty typical for us miners. That is enabled. The intrusion detection I turned off, which has to do with like the case being open and such, as well as I set the fans. There's these crazy high RPM fans actually in here. They almost sound like octo miners. They're right in the front back in there. I set those to be a minimum of 25%. So Windows is up, fully updated, good to go. Shows our processor, 128 gigabytes of memory, which is great. Virtualization, it has to show for a FluxCore, is enabled. We're good to go. Let's jump over to the computer and we'll take a look at installing FluxCore. All right, well, it has been 24 hours and take a look over here. FluxCore is up and running, and we're going to take a look in just a second. I ran into a lot of struggles with Windows 10 Pro, decided today to move over to Windows 11, and finally got things up and running. And I followed a guide that the Flux team provided. It worked, kind of, but I ran into a lot of struggles. So I wrote my own guide. Hopefully it helps one of you to get through some of the struggles that I ran into. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so for Windows, it does say Windows 10 is supported, but based off all the struggles that I had with Windows 10 Pro, I recommend that you not use Windows 10 Pro. Do Windows 11. It worked out much better for me. This guide here is one that the Flux team provided. I'll provide a link directly down below to it. It goes through step-by-step dealing with Windows Defender, as well as adding some exclusions. The reason Windows Defender is such a challenge is, let me scroll back up to the top, and they actually say it right here. During the beta phase, as FluxCore lacks an official license, the download may be flagged by Windows Defender. Well, it absolutely is. Everything I did in Windows was not interested in it. It was kind of protecting me. So there's instructions here on methods to bypass it and get everything up and running. I did not have luck with these. So what I did was, first off, I wrote a quick little guide here, just a few settings that you need if you're running a Dell Precision. So if you guys bought one of those Dell Precision desktops like I have for VAST, or now using it for Flux or FluxCore with Proof of Useful Work, there's a few settings in the BIOS that I put in here that make things a little bit easier for you. I'll put this down below as well. Finally, I wrote a guide here. It's like 25 steps. Some of it seems super mundane, but I wanted to document every single thing I did and how I got it working, because I'm hoping no one runs into the issues I did. But if you do, this is a step-by-step guide of how I went through it. I highly recommend doing a fresh install of Windows 11. You're going to go ahead and patch it, install your GPU drivers, and then take it from there. And there's a few tips and tricks I added in here that worked for me. Hopefully they work for you. All right, links directly down below. Let's go ahead and take a look at FluxCore. All right, so the availability to log into this via a web GUI from one computer to another isn't set up or enabled yet within FluxCore. Based off some of my conversations, will be coming down the road. I think it's coming in beta. Right now, it's considered like FluxCore Alpha. So here we are. It's kind of a local IP address. So 127.0.1:18.18.0. And here we are. We are at the FluxCore dashboard, and I actually have, you can see in here, it shows one rig currently mining. The nice thing is if you had multiple rigs on your network, you could scan the network from one rig and manage them all from there. So it's pretty cool the way that that is set up. If I go over to, let's see, let's go to machines for right now. You can see I have one Windows 11 Pro machine in here. It is currently up and running with my RTX GeForce 3060. So I can go ahead and click there. This awesome dashboard showing all my metrics in here. You can see in here the amount of memory that I have running. Now I'm not running Proof of Useful Work. This is just mining Flux currently. So boatloads of memory available to it, as well as you can see the solid state drive in here. It labels as well as my hard drive. and also my CPU. So like everything came up. Like there's a lot of really good detail in here, which works out nicely. Now, there is the benchmark option in here, and I haven't run it yet. I'm going to be running it actually tonight in a live stream, which actually I guess for you guys it's last night, but I'm going to be going through the benchmark process. You can kind of see where it's at. It looks like the best number right now is on this right hand side is 44,255. That thing must be insane. The median, the middle right now with people that have done this is about 20,000. So if you guys do end up running this on your machine, that kind of gives you a good idea. You can actually run all the benchmarks or individual ones right over here on the left-hand side. You can dig deeper into your hardware, which is really nice. Like if you click on hardware, it's got all the memory listed and everything in there, as well as overclocking, which is coming soon. They do have some of these profiles built in. So I'll show you real quick here. If I go over to mining on the left-hand side, and then I go down to Microsoft Windows 11 Pro, well, you can see up here I have one machine, 45.4 souls there. So let me go ahead and click on that. And in here I have my Flux, the configure miner. So Flux is currently set up here. I set up LOL miner. I'm going to one of Flux's pools. And then my wallet is listed in here. I added my 𝐶 wallet. And then on top of that shows one GPU. This is just one GPU setup, but it shows we're currently mining right now. It shows like my GPU temps, as well as the hash rate, power consumption. All of that is right in here, up and mining, and it's kind of using some of their clock settings and things like that. So it'll be nice once that overclock profiles are in place. So right now we're at 44.9 souls on Flux with my 3060. So that's probably going to wrap things up for today. I'm not going to get into too much detail on all of FluxCore and the benefits and features. I'm literally just stepping into it as of like an hour ago. I'm not going to lie. Put a lot of time to get this up and running. It sounds like it's not just me based off some other people that got some access to it, that there are some struggles here to get this up and running. Keep in mind, this is alpha. Finally, last thing I'm going to note, today, December 15th, FluxCore is available in alpha, but proof of useful work is not enabled yet. Based off my conversations with some of their team, that is something that's going to come over the next few weeks and be rolled out slowly. And I don't know all the details, so I'm eager to see some of the details that comes out from the Flux team on exactly when that's going to be enabled and how that's going to be enabled and how you can participate. All of that is soon to come. Well, guys, that's going to wrap things up for today. Longer video than I even expected. Hopefully you enjoyed the build and the rig and getting a first look at FluxCore at a very high 50,000 foot level. If you guys want to know about when I drop my next Flux proof of useful work video, go ahead and click that bell, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.